Good morning, Class 4-3. Mr. Waterman here with today's Language Arts lesson in Period 3 on Friday, February 5th, 2021. I hope you all have had a great morning studying so far. Yesterday, we had a test on comparing with more and most. Today, we are going to go over the answers to the test. Please get a red pen out and check your answers as we go through the test. Good luck. So for part A, the direction said, in each sentence, find the adjective that compares. Circle your answer. Number 1, my sister is more musical than my brother is. B, more musical. 2, New York City is one of the most popular of all cities to visit. C, most popular. 3, my Aunt Nanette is the most generous person I know. A, most generous. For part A, there are 3 points possible. For part B, you had to choose the correct adjective. To complete each sentence, you had to circle your answer and write it on the line. Part B, it's 2 points each. 4, my sister was C, more curious about my trip than my brother was, because we are comparing two people. More curious. 5, John is the D, most responsible of all 3 children. We're comparing 3 or more. Most. And number 6, that is the D, most original idea I ever heard. Two points for each one. For part B, 6 points are possible. Now, let's turn the page to check the last part of the test. You had to read the sentences below. You had to look for mistakes and circle. Okay? Circle the mistakes. And adjectives that compare. You had to rewrite the sentences correctly, then read them aloud. 1, of all the children in our class, I was the eagerest. Eagerest is a mistake. To visit the art museum. Now, when you rewrite it, the sentence should say, of all the students in our class, I was the most eager to visit the art museum. For this one, you get 1 point for circling, 1 point for writing most, 1 point for writing eager, 1 point for writing the sentence correctly with capital letters and full stops. You get 4 points for number 1. 2. The rooms on the first floor have old-fashioneder buildings than the rooms on the second floor. Old-fashioneder is not correct. The sentence should be, the rooms on the first floor have more old-fashioned paintings than the rooms on the second floor. Okay? So, you get 1 point for circling old-fashioneder, 1 point for writing more, 1 point for writing old-fashioned, and 1 point for writing the sentence correctly with capital letters and full stops. 4 points for number 2. Number 3. The paintings on the third floor are the modernest of all. Modernist is a mistake. The correct sentence should be, the paintings on the third floor are the most modern of all. Remember, of all is always a clue, a hint for using most. Just like in number 2, we have to use more because we are comparing 2 floors. 1 point for circling modernist, 1 point for writing most, 1 point for writing modern, and 1 point for writing the sentence correctly. 4 points. Number 4. We decided packing a lunch would be economicaler than buying one. Economicaler is a mistake. Let's write it this way. We decided packing a lunch would be more economical than buying one. And this is a nice way to say cheaper. Okay? You don't have to spend as much money or any money if you take your own lunch. 1 point for circling economical, 1 point for writing more, 1 point for writing economical, and 1 point for writing the sentence correctly. 4 points. For this part of the test, this is 16 points. Now let's add up your totals. 16 and 6, this is 22, and 3 is 25. This test is out of 25 points total. I hope you all did well. Once you have added up your totals, please turn to page 153. We are starting a new unit today. Now we are starting the unit on comparing. Comparing with good. Please listen as I read through the points. Point number 1. Use better to compare to people, places, or things. Use best to compare more than two. Okay? Better and best are important. We never say gooder or goodest. Ever. Better and best. Okay? Listen to the directions. Write better or best to complete each sentence correctly. 1. The Black Hills Wild Horse Sanctuary is one of the blank places to see wild horses. 2. My friend thinks horses are blank companions than dogs. 3. Dayton Hyde thinks that running free is blank for horses than being stuck in one place. 4. He thought the blank choice would be to fence the horses in at first. 5. Because he grew up on a ranch, Dayton understands horses blank than most of us do. 6. Life was blank for most wild horses in the 1800s than it was in the 1900s. 7. Conditions were blank for population growth after a 1971 law outlawed the capture of wild horses. 8. Dayton Hyde created the blank place for wild horses to run free. 9. Horse ranches are the blank places to learn to ride. 10. His horse is blank at racing than mine is. 11. This is the blank spot for a horse to drink. 12. Is it blank to ride side saddle or Western style? Let's do a few of these together. 1. The Black Hills Wild Horse Sanctuary is one of the best, B-E-S-T, places to see wild horses. We're going to use best because we are comparing more than two places to see wild horses. 2. My friend thinks horses are better, B-E-T-T-E-R, better companions than dogs. Than is always your clue. This is your hint for using better. Anytime you see than, there's an excellent chance we are comparing to people, to places, or to things. Okay? Number 3. Dayton Hyde thinks that running free is better for horses than being stuck in one place. There's that word again, than. 4. He thought the best choice would be to fence the horses in at first. Comparing more than two choices. Okay? Please complete numbers 5 through 12 on your own. When you are finished, move on to page 154. Now, we are comparing with bad, the opposite. Point 1. Use worse to compare to people, places, or things. Use worst to compare more than two. So just like good, bad has the same rule. We do not say badder, we do not say baddest. Okay? Worse or worst. Directions. Write worse or worst to complete each sentence correctly. 1. The invention of barbed wire fences made life blank for wild horses than before. 2. During the blank period, the population of horses fell below 17,000. 3. Hunger and thirst were the blank threats to horses. 4. Seeing wild horses in fenced feedlots made Dayton Hyde feel blank than he had for a long time. 5. The ranch was no blank than the feedlot. 6. The thought of the horses breaking down the fence was Dayton's blank fear. 7. Conditions were blank for horses after more land was settled. 8. The cold felt blank for the cowboys than it did for the horses. 9. This is the blank time to ride a horse. 10. My saddle sore is no blank than yours, I suppose. 11. That's not the blank riding I've ever seen. 12. That trail is much blank than this trail. Let's do a few together. 1. The invention of barbed wire fences made life worse. W-O-R-S-E. For wild horses than before. Then we are comparing to people, to places, or to things. 2. During the worst, W-O-R-S-T, period, the population of horses fell below 17,000. We are comparing more than two periods, so we use worst. 3. Hunger and thirst were the worst. WORST. Worst threats to horses. We are comparing more than two types of threats. Number 4. Seeing wild horses in fenced feedlots made Dayton Hyde feel worse than he had for a long time. Our keyword is then. Okay? Now, please do numbers 5 through 12 on your own. If you have any questions, please email Mr. Waterman. I'm going to give you next week at some point a quiz, probably a 10-question quiz that is going to be a Google quiz. Okay? It is going to be over the points we have studied the last month. Please make sure you go back and you compare. This type of Google test is something that all of you in my language arts class will need to do. This test will be part of your report card grade. So if you do not complete the test, you get a 0, which will translate into a 1. Okay? So you need to make sure you do this test next week. There's a good chance that it might come in Monday's class. So you'll have this weekend to study. Okay? Take care, stay safe, be well. I'll see you in just a few minutes in period 4. Bye-bye for now.